Good morning, everyone. I am Marychristinefvillanueva, and today I am going to discuss with you the gender roles and gender identity. So first, we're going to tackle about the gender roles. Gender roles is society's concept of how men and women should behave and present themselves based on their biological sex. So it means that if you were born as a male, your expected gender role would be masculine. And if you were born female, your gender role would be feminine. And these roles are based on norms or standards created by the society. We have here role learning starts at birth, and that's true because even today, society is quick to outfit our newborn babies with blue things if it is a male and pink things if it is a female, and even applying these color coded gender labels. For example, in the gender reveal parties, the parents are expected to reveal their baby's sex using this color coded. Also, one way children learn gender roles is through play, because parents typically supply boys with toys like guns, cars, and superhero figures, which are active toys that promote motor skills, strength, and aggression. And for girls, often given dolls, dress-up apparel, and luto-lutuan that foster nurturing, social proximity, and role-playing. So, as you can see, kahit nung bata pa tayo, ini-introduce na tayo sa things and behavior ng isang lalaki at ng isang babae. Studies have shown that children will most likely to play with gender-appropriate toys because parents give them feedback like praising, involvement, and physical closeness for normative behavior. The drive to adhere to masculine and feminine roles continue in life. Men tend to outnumber women in professions such as military, law enforcement, and politics. And women tend to outnumber men in care-related occupations such as childcare and healthcare. And these occupational roles are example of normal or typical male and female behavior that they gain or get from our culture's tradition. Adherence to them demonstrates fulfillment of social expectations, but not necessarily personal preference. So that's all for gender roles. Now we move to gender identity. Gender identity is a person's deeply held internal perception of his or her gender. So it means that they are the people whose gender identity or expressions doesn't match to their assigned birth. So that may be in line to what society expects of us, or it may be opposed to what society is expecting to us. So you could be a man who can assume some feminine roles, or you can be a woman who can assume some masculine roles without interfering your gender identity. There are a lot of possible gender identities out there. People can identify as one of the binary gender, as moving between genders, as no gender, or as another gender altogether. One example here is the transgender. Transgender is an individual who identify with a role that is different from their biological sex. They are called trans for short. Transgender males are males who have such a strong emotional and psychological connection to the feminine aspect society that they identify themselves as female. Also to female, it has connection to masculinity aspects in society. Transgender people express their gender identities in many different ways. Some people use their dress, behavior, and mannerisms to live as the gender that feels right to them. Some of the transgender individuals attempt to change their bodies through medical intervention, such as surgery and hormonal therapy. And this is called transsexual. They change their body through medical intervention so that it matches their gender identity. They may also known as male to female or female to male. But not all transgender individuals choose to change their body. There are still some of them who maintain their original anatomy but present themselves to society as another gender. This is typically done by adapting the dress, hairstyles, mannerisms, or other characteristics assigned to another gender. Please take note that people who cross-dress are not necessarily transgender because cross-dressing is typically a form of self-expression, entertainment, or just a personal style and not necessarily an expression against one assigned gender. There is no single or conclusive explanation of why people are transgender. Transgender expressions and experiences are so diverse that it is difficult to identify their origin. But many experts believe that biological factors such as genetic influences and prenatal hormone levels, early experiences, or later in adulthood may all contribute to the development of transgender identities. Did you know that there is gender identity disorder? It is called gender identity disorder before, but replacing it to gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is a condition in which people whose gender at birth is contrary to the one they identify with. For some transgender people, the difference between gender they are taught to be at birth and the gender they know themselves to be can lead to serious emotional distress. At doon na sila nahuhulog sa gender dysphoria because many transgender people need to deal with physical and mental health problems because of widespread discrimination that society tells them that their deeply held identity is wrong or deviant, and some of them experience violence and harassment that can lead to anxiety disorders and depression. But not all transgender people have gender dysphoria. It doesn't mean that if you are a transgender, you will be considered to have a medical condition. There are just some of them who do not experience serious stress or anxiety. Gender dysphoria can often relieve by expressing one's gender in a way that they are comfortable with, that include dressing and grooming in a way that it reflects of who they are and what they want to be. Also taking medical steps to physically change their body. There are also some organizations that help trans people to prevent all types of violence against them. And these organizations hope that by educating the public about gender identity and empowering transgender and transsexual individuals, this violence will end. So that's all for gender identity. So again, gender roles is society's concept of how men and women should behave, and gender identity is your own feelings about who you are and what you want to be. Society is in control of your gender roles, and you are in control of your gender identity. And that's all for today. I hope that you have learned something about this topic. Thank you for listening and have a good day.